All right, if you are tuning into this, we are going to be looking at some plants and doing this lab together. So as long as you follow along with this video, you should be good. So here's the deal. We have fast plants. These are plants that have grown to be really fast. And the advantage of using these is that they don't take as long. And so you can do more research. So you can do more research over a shorter amount of time because the plants don't have as long of a life cycle. You don't have to wait as long. So in this lab, we're going to be looking at stem color and leaf color of plants. Okay, some of these fast plants. And we're going to try to figure out what's dominant and what's recessive just by looking at some data and looking at these plants. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at some pictures. So it says, look at the I1 plants. This is the generation 1. I have a little pedigree over here. So if you click on this, you should get a picture, and I'm going to drag my frame over here, and here's the picture. So the question is, are these stems mostly green or mostly purple? And as we can see, they are mostly purple. So that's what we're going to write down, is that these stems are mostly purple. So we're writing down mostly purple for number 2 here. Okay, next up we're going to look at the next set of plants. So these are both the parents. We just looked at this one, which was purple. Now we're going to look at I2. Here are my I2. What color stems do these have? Mostly green, right? They have all green stems. So we're going to go ahead and fill in green here, or you could highlight it. That would work too. So we know that the parent plant is purple. Okay, parent plants are green. So a purple and a green plant. Now we're going to look at all of their kid plants. So what happens when we have their kid plants? And let me switch the slide. Here's their kids. Notice they've got purple stems. So that's what we're going to write here, is that for generation 2, they've got purple stems. Now it says color in the pedigree at the right according to what we just wrote. So if you double click on this, it's going to bring up a Google drawing. And what you can do is you can click on the shapes and color them in. So we said that the first parent had purple, the next parent had green, and their kids were all purple. You can go ahead and fill those in. If you have a printed version, you can color this, or you can just write purple, green, purple, purple, purple. Okay. So now we have our little pedigree here. Okay, and our goal is to figure out what color is dominant and what is recessive. So if we take a look, if we have a purple individual and a green individual, and they have all purple kids, what color do you think is dominant? Well, it's going to be purple, right? Because when they combined their purple and green genes, the purple gene ended up winning out. So we're going to go ahead and write purple here. Oops, the evidence we have to support this. What I want to see here is when we breed a purple plant and a green plant, they have all purple kids. Okay? So when we breed a purple plant and a green plant, they have all purple kids. Now, if you're doing this on the printed version, there might be a typo, depending on when you got this. For number 7, it should say, it says in that incorrect version, assume that they're dominant. We want to assume that they're purebred or homozygous. Okay, so we're going to assume they're homozygous, and we're going to see if we can figure out then if these results are going to match what we predict. Okay, so we're assuming that they're homozygous. So I1, we said purple's dominant, so that would have to be big A, big A. So we're going to write big A here. I2 has to be little a, little a. Little a, little a. Now it says write the genotypes on the pedigree. So again, we can double click on this. And the cool thing about these drawings, you can just double click on the shape and you'll get a text box. So we can write big A, double click little a, little a. All right, and that's what we're going to do. Now you might be able to figure out already, what are these guys all going to be? Well, they have to get a big A here and a little a here. But we're going to do a Punnett square to show that in a second. So I have those written in. So it says if I1 and I2 have offspring, remember I1 is big A, I2 is little a, little a. What are the genotypes going to be? So I'm going to fill in this Punnett square, big A, little a, little a. And we can see that here they're all going to be big A, little a. So that's what we're going to write here, big A, little a. And then down here it says add the genotypes again, which you might have already done because you might have been like, Ms. Frankson, I can totally do this. So we've got big A, little a for all these guys. Here's the trick. We collected data on these plants and we collected data for generation 3, okay, in class. So we're going to make, first of all, it says what color will generation 2 be? Well, we already know generation 2 has purple stems, okay? And that matches with what our Punnett square says. So now we're going to say if we had 2 kids from generation 2, 2 plant parents, and they had kids, what would generation 3 be? And these are the stems and leaves that you counted in class yesterday. Okay, so I have our data for us, but first we're going to make a prediction. So remember, generation 2, they're all big A, little a. We're going to do a cross between a big A and a little a. Big A, little a. And what we're going to find is that we're going to predict or see with our Punnett square that 75% are going to be green. 25% are going to be purple. And so you can fill that in here. Okay, you can fill in 75% green, or sorry, 75% purple and 25% green. I had that backwards. So purple, remember, is dominant. All right, excellent. So here's our data then. Let's see if that matches our data, because our whole goal here is to figure out, can our data match our predictions of what we think is going to be dominant and recessive? So we said 25% are going to be purple, or sorry, 75% are purple, 25% are green. So now let's figure this out. Yesterday you counted, and here are the results for all the classes. We put them in a spreadsheet. Okay, you might have remembered doing a spreadsheet that kind of looked like this. I tallied up all the totals. And now we're going to take a look. So we have to find the total stems. So here we're going to do 92 plus 68. Okay. And so that's going to be 160. And then to find the percent, we're going to have to take the number of purple, so 92 divided by 160 times 100. Okay. 92 divided by 160 times 100. That's going to equal 57.5%. Okay, which means our green stems is going to be 68 divided by 160 times 100. Okay. And just doing some simple math, that's going to be like 42 point. Oh, not 52, 42.5%. So we expected them to be 75 and 25. Okay. So it says, does it match? Well, it kind of does. This is where we get into small sample sizes, right? So we have a pretty small sample size, only 160. And I don't know, our results kind of don't match, but that's okay. All right. I'm going to tell you that these are the correct dominant and recessive traits. Sometimes we get them closer to the actual percentage, and sometimes we get them further. Okay, so if it doesn't match your results, we could repeat the experiment. We could add more individuals for a larger sample size. We could rework our prediction. Those are all things we could do. Now let's take a look at the leaf color of these plants. So I gotta scroll, give me a second. I gotta go to the right page here. Leaf color. Here are our generation, our I1 plants. And I'm going to tell you these are all yellow, okay? So these are all yellow. You can see they're greenish here, but see how they're yellow-green? These are all yellow. So we're going to fill in, the leaves are mostly yellow here. Now we're going to look at the I2 plants. So let me flip my slide. Hey, these guys have all green leaves. Okay, so we've got green leaves here. So now our parent plants, yellow leaves, green leaves. And now we're going to take a look at generation 2. See any yellow ones? They're all green. Okay. So for generation 2, they are all green. So what you're going to do is you're going to do the same exact procedure. Okay, we're going to edit the pedigree. So you're going to put yellow, green, they're all green. You're going to tell me what trait's dominant. Okay. And then, again, this might, if you have the printed version, might be a typo. It's supposed to say purebred and homozygous, not dominant here. So assume that we know the genotypes if they're purebred. Show me some Punnett squares, okay? And then see if it matches. And if it doesn't match, that's okay, because our data is it's a little bit off, which is totally fine, okay?